Thanks everyone for joining us today as we talk about the Center for Arkansas Farms and Food Farm School program for 2025. So the goal of the Center for Arkansas Farms and Food is to expand and strengthen our Northwest Arkansas food system. And we do this by really focusing in on increasing farms. We want to increase the produce that is grown in our community and strengthen our farm community networks. And we do this by creating educational programs that strengthen these networks. And we really focus on building skills and experiences and connecting farmers to resources that support them through the production and business and marketing aspects of their farm. So we have a few main programs that, in addition to Farm School, that we just wanted to bring your attention to. So besides Farm School, which we will focus on here shortly, we do have an apprenticeship program that's really focused on farm work. We have short courses that happen 3 times a year that really try to address the needs of aspiring farmers that can't participate in the Farm School program because they have full lives and can't dedicate the time and commitment that's needed for Farm School. We do a lot of networking events throughout the year, both informal and formal events. And then we have our Transition to Organic Partnership Program, TOPP. And that's really to support farmers that are transitioning to certified organic practices through educational opportunities, farm tours, mentorship, and the like. We have a lot of partners that help us make this work possible. And those include the University of Arkansas on campus here. We ourselves are in the Division of Agriculture, but we partner with our Cooperative Extension Service here in Northwest Arkansas, but at the state level as well. We work with the National Ag Law Center program, help us deliver some of our content. There's also the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust, which they have a Farm Link program. There is the National Center for Appropriate Technology in the Southeast region. They're based here in Fayetteville. Also within the Division of Agriculture is the Arkansas Food Innovation Center, which is located in the Food Science Building, but then also the Arkansas Food Innovation Center at the Market Center of the Ozarks, which will be opening here soon. And then, of course, we, one of our most important partners in this is our local farmers. We can't do this work without them, and we lean on them for farm tours and educational content and guest speakers as much as we can. And then also, sorry to miss the Spring Creek Food Hub, which is a newer organization working with a lot of farms in, I think it's over 50 farms now in Northwest Arkansas to aggregate their products and create new markets that support local foods. So our farm school is located in Fayetteville. If you're familiar with campus, we're located about 2 miles north of campus along 112 or Garland Avenue and Drake. So we are located within the Arkansas Agriculture Research and Extension Center. And then the little blue outline of the field is kind of highlighted onto the right of the screen, and that shows our production area. And I think, Brooke, are you going to take this one from here?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the introduction, Heather. Heather's our fearless leader as director of CAFF. I'm the business instructor, so I get to help lead with some of the program administration and in the business classes. So the farm school, we start that mid-February. And it's about 10 months long. You end up graduating mid-November. So we end up becoming really close and spending lots of good time together. The program is Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 12:30. So we're together about 16 hours per week. 50% of that time you're going to be in the field with Jonathan, getting that hands-on experiential learning. And then 50% of the time you'll be in the classroom with either Joe or I learning about the production and business side of things. So it's a very holistic program. We try to get you experts from every perspective of farming and business management and horticulture backgrounds. Um, you receive a certificate of completion once you finish this 10-month program. And while we are under the Division of Agriculture, this means that we're not actually under the University of Arkansas umbrella. So farm school students are not U of A students. So we are not able to at this time accept financial aid from like FAFSA, the federal financial aid. So just keep that in mind as you're making as you're planning for the farm school in advance. Like I said, our schedule is Monday through Thursday, 8:30 through 12:30. Um, our 10-month program is divided into 4 quarters. So each quarter, you'll get more knowledge that builds upon each other throughout the whole course. We will be sharing a holiday schedule. We take our typical U of A holiday schedule with spring break and Memorial Day, Labor Day. We also add in a few breaks that are important as farmers to stay strong throughout the season. 10 months is a long program, but we do that intentionally so that you get to be part of the farm for the full growing season. But because of that, we recognize the value of taking breaks. We take a couple of extra days off at the beginning in May and July and towards the end of the season in September. So we will be sharing that at the fall work day so that you can make plans accordingly. So down to the good stuff. I get to teach y'all business curriculum side of things. So throughout the course for farm school, we will be working on business plans together. Each one of the students that enroll in the farm school build their own individual business plan. So you get to create your own dream farm based off of your farm mission and farm goals so that you get to have some individualized learning as you go through the course. We'll have some more traditional aspects. We do lectures in the class where I provide just basic business concepts on operations, management, marketing, and financials. But then we also kind of shift into those interactive class activities. So alongside the traditional lectures, we do a lot of workshops, we do a lot of discussion, we do a lot of brainstorming together. What I really enjoy is being able to pull in the backgrounds of all of the students that are a part of the farm school and bringing their previous knowledge into what we're doing in the classroom. So by the end of the year, you will have a full business plan drafted based on all of the knowledge learned. And then lastly, I'm not an expert in all of this. I really enjoy being able to pull in our community members and bring in guest speakers that can really provide their expertise inside of the classroom, but also connecting you with them so that as you do move forward in your agricultural career, if you choose to start a farm or you choose to work on farms in the area, you've made those business connections and you know who to ask whenever you have legal questions or insurance questions or whatever that might be. So it's a really great place to start from bare bones, even if you just have a small business idea and really get you all the way through to understanding your financials and having a farm brand by the end of the year. And inside of that, like I said, you'll probably have some legal questions. So we're really lucky that we partner with the National Ag Law Center, and they have a couple of attorneys that share their expertise in several different topics throughout the year. Business entities and establishing which one's the most important or the most fitting for your business model. Agricultural leasing, as we recognize land access is a crucial part of getting into farming. And then we'll talk about different types of certifications and regulations that you need to follow from the organic law perspective and pesticide use. And then lastly, we'll talk about labor law and how you can safely employ people on your future farm.
Hi, I'm Joe, the production class instructor. So the production class looks at the science of farming. So like business planning and creating your own business plan, you're going to create your own farm and design your own farm. So that will start with evaluating a location for farm suitability. It includes creating a crop plan of what you're going to grow, where you're going to grow it, when you're going to plant it. And then once you've got that crop plan built out, you'll select your tools and equipment that you'll need on your farm as well. And we walk through all the different information and pieces of knowledge that you need to have in order to build out that crop plan and select those tools and equipment. And then once that is done, we'll move on and design an irrigation system for your farm, as well as creating an overall crop production plan. So that will be your greenhouse plan, your field SOP, so how you're actually physically growing those crops, as well as a pest management and fertility management plan. So when you leave farm school, you should have a farm map laid out, either for land that you own or a theoretical farm. You should have a crop plan of what's being grown, when and where it's being planted. You should have a production SOP that includes how you're growing the crop, how you're growing your transplants, how you're managing soil health, and how you're managing pests on your farm, as well as an irrigation system design. Within our curriculum, we strongly follow sustainable production practices as well as certified organic production practices. So you get to see a variety of methods within the classroom.
All right, and I make up the last piece of the instructor team. My name is Jonathan, and I'm the field instructor here. Like Brooke stated earlier, about 50% of your time is spent out in the field or in the classroom with myself, learning a bunch of varied field work techniques. We primarily focus on hands-on experience. There is a little classroom time that we spend, especially when it comes to some fruits and learning early on in the season, especially in February. We don't have every day outside, and that's you'll be pretty thankful about that. But in that hands-on experience, we really want to expose you to various different tractors of sizes and ages, a bunch of different tools, whether that be hand tools, walk behind tractors, drill power tools. We really want to upgrade your level of understanding when it comes to all the different things that you have access to as a small or mid-scale farmer. And with that, you will learn a lot of techniques. We do focus on a diversified production system. So what that means is we'll, generally grow 25 to 35 different crops a year on multiple scales. And that also includes some small fruits that we really hone in on, blueberries and blackberries in particular. What we really want to accomplish with the experiential learning that you do in the field is to let you see a whole season of farming. So we start really early in February. We may already have things growing in the greenhouse by the time you come on board, but you'll get to see what a whole year as a farmer looks like, or as much as we can expose you to. We do have a couple of interesting things that we'll do throughout the year. Group plots is one of them. So you'll actually get the opportunity with a small group of your peers to plan, build, and grow all your own produce that then you'll turn around and sell at our farm stand that we do in the summer, currently running right now. And then another way we bring in a lot of experiential learning is by taking the group to as many farms as we can. We generally start those about halfway through the year so that you've gained a little bit of understanding of what farming in Arkansas looks like. And then we really expose you to a lot of varied production styles during those farm tours. And like I said, in the field, we do have a couple of different scales. So our intensive scale is represented by, we have a core set of field blocks, and that's about a half an acre. But in general, our intensive scale is made up of about an acre and a half, which includes all of our small fruit, high tunnel production, group plot spaces, and things like that. And our mid scale is represented by about 5 acres of production every year. The whole CAFF farm is encapsulated by about 13 acres, but a lot of that's like driveways, cart paths, green areas that get mowed and things like that. We do have quite a lot of infrastructure to expose our students to. That infrastructure includes greenhouses, high tunnels, perennial fruits, and annual vegetables. And so, we have multiple different greenhouse structures on the farm that we can kind of tour and look at. And especially in farm tours, you'll see a bunch of different types of structures being used. Currently, our classroom is housed in the greenhouse, but we have a really nice greenhouse that CAFF uses for transplant production and things like that. And then we have a few different sizes and types of high tunnels that we get to look at. When it comes to tractors, we have some really old tractors, way older than myself, and access to much newer equipment that we're fortunate enough to have. Like I said, there are walk-behind tractors, or a lot of people know them as conventional tillers, things like that, that we'll get to show you and let you learn how to use, so that hopefully by the end of the year, you can make that decision of your own of how to design your farm, how to build it out, and what tools and equipment are best suited for the scale that you want to grow on. And then, like I said earlier, a lot of time is spent in team-based group plots. So you'll get to work really closely with your peers, sharing various roles throughout the year. And like I said, growing produce that you decided what it was and where it goes, so that then we can turn around and either sell it at market, sell it through a CSA that we partner with locally, or even sell it to our wholesale partner, Spring Creek Food Hub.
So we do have some tools and technology that you'll need for the classroom. First and foremost, you will need a laptop and a smartphone. The laptop is needed for our Google Suite access. So we do a lot of work developing a business plan, which you'll need, which is like using a Word document. And then we do a lot of work within Google Sheets for creating our crop plan and analyzing our financial status for our farm plan. So you do need a laptop to do that. And then you also need that smartphone for Slack, which is a communication tool that we use for daily communication within students, within our group plots, from instructors to students. So those are a couple pieces of technology that you'll need. I will say that a tablet is not an alternative to a laptop. It needs to be either a Microsoft-based tablet, an Apple-based, Microsoft-based computer, an Apple-based computer, or a Chromebook. So what do you leave here with when you graduate farm school? Well, you leave with a understanding of a variety of principles, practices, and how to farm. Again, as Jonathan mentioned, you're going to have a lot of hands-on activities. You're going to have a lot of classroom activities. So you should have a pretty broad knowledge of, really how to go and take away from and go farm. You're going to gain a lot of skills, both small scale, setting up and using small equipment, using large equipment, building and designing irrigation systems, analyzing a business plan, financial status of a business. So there's a lot of skills there that you're going to learn about. You'll start to learn about the legal risk with setting up a farm business and what kind of business entities that you should, or what kind of business entities are available to you and what might best work for your farm and your goals. You will work quite a bit with spreadsheets for, again, building out a crop plan, what's being planted when, where, and then directly analyzing those crops with your selected markets for profitability. And so that's kind of a dual connection between Brooks business class and the production class. You'll gain access or opportunities to developing your marketing skills at our farm market stand that students run. And then you'll learn about other various resources and employment opportunities within the local Northwest Arkansas area. Now we can slide on.
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. Too quick.
So a little bit of a crossover with the last slide and this slide, but what do you specifically leave with? You're going to leave with a variety of tractor skills. You should be able to run and operate a tractor and a variety of implements that are used on mid-scale farms, both with new equipment, like brand new, we just got this tractor this year, as well as older equipment that is older than both everybody sitting on this call. So a variety of tools and equipment. You'll get a lot of hands-on skill development time for smaller, high intense, high turnover, or high crop production systems for those very intensive small scale production systems. And then you will learn a variety of production practices and techniques and be able to really dial in those different techniques and practices into your farm based on the scale that you have and the equipment that you have and the crops that you want to grow for the different markets that you want to grow in. And then you'll also work on and learn how to set up an actual business. What's the paperwork that's needed to do this, as well as what are the different types of entities that go into setting up a business, as well as actual management skills. How to be a farm manager, how to keep records, etc. So why do you want to attend farm school? Well, first and foremost, it's a 10-month program that covers field hands-on, business management, and production class or the science behind farming. So you're going to end up with a really in-depth knowledge and skill sets for going out and starting your own farm over that 10 months. There's a variety of guest speakers that come into class, as well as an instructor team that has a diverse array of experience. And so you're going to have an opportunity to learn really from a lot of different perspectives, both in the classroom as well as when we go out and do farm visits or farm tours. You're also going to become a member of the farming community in Northwest Arkansas. It's an opportunity to get integrated with other people that are farming within the community, learn from them, talk about what varieties and what practices other farmers are using. And you're going to develop or be a part of a local cohort. Within that farm school, our classes are fairly small, and so you get to know and work with the same other folks for a long period of time and really get to develop a solid relationship around trust and around being able to work together with each other and being able to call up the phone, call or text somebody else and say, hey, I'm stuck on something. Can you help me out a little bit? And that's part of being in this, both the local farm cohort class that we have over the course of the year, but also just being a part of that Northwest Arkansas farming community. Then, of course, the farm school curriculum, that 10-month curriculum, counts as 1 year towards farming experience. So if you're looking for an FSA farm loan, typically they're looking for 3 years of experience. But if you participate in CAFF Farm School, that counts as 1 year. So now you only need to have 2 additional years of experience to be eligible for these loans. Once you've completed the farm school, it opens up some additional opportunities for funds, either through our Farmers of Tomorrow fund, or may give you preferential treatment for incubator plots as we start to roll out incubators for farmers within the area. If you've been through the farm school program, you might score a little bit higher as far as being able to get access to those incubator plots. And then again, you'll have access to ongoing technical assistance and ongoing education support from the CAFF community.
Okay. Back to me. I'm gonna walk you through some of our policies and expectations. These are kind of our guiding principles that, just kind of create some format for, our learning experience. And so we take a lot of photos and videos throughout the season, and so and post those onto social media. So we like to be able to show all your faces, and so we do have a media release form. You can decline that if you want. If you don't want to, have your face in any of those, that's perfectly fine. As Brooke mentioned earlier, our program is a certificate of completion program. And so we do have a kind of a points rubric that considers your attendance, participation, your the class assessments. All those are kind of compiled into, we don't use a grading system, we use a point system. And so you have to meet at least 70% in those areas. And that determines your pass fail. We have community agreements that I'm going to go through in the next slide. Farming is, it's a physical occupation, and we do a lot of physical work. There's standing, squatting, walking over uneven terrain. And so we do have a physical health form that we ask you to complete before the beginning of the program. It's basically just a physical from your doctor. At the farm, while working in the field, you have to wear, personal protective equipment. This includes, you have to wear closed-toed shoes, sturdy shoes or boots, rain gear when it's raining out, because we usually don't stop unless it's, really bad weather. Wear a sun hat, wear sun protection, always have your water bottle with you. If you're going to be, applying amendments to the soil that can get dusty, or any kind of pesticide, even organic pesticides, you have to wear, the protective equipment that keeps you safe. And the expectations. So what we expect of students, in addition to the policies, the assignments, or the assessments, and all that, the physical, the health form, being able to lift 30 pounds, squat, bend, kneel repetitively, that's all included in that physician's authorization form. And then the practicing the community agreements. And these are just, basic life skills that you're probably already practicing anyway. And those include respecting students and instructors, be on time and ready to work when class begins at 8:30. Participate in activities and discussion. You really get out of the program what you put into it. And so take advantage of that opportunity, that learning opportunity. Completing the assessments on time. Communication is super important. When you're not going to be there, please, reach out to us, let us know. Coming to class with a good attitude, and coming with a growth mindset, and coming to the program to learn. That's what you're here to do. And over the season, like especially in the hot summer months, that can be really hard to be outside, and you have to, sometimes it requires reminding yourself that you're here to learn, and to put in that good attitude. And then importantly, from a health and safety perspective, drugs and alcohol are strictly prohibited at the University of Arkansas. And so those are policies that we strictly follow. Getting into the tuition. So the cost of the tuition beginning in 2025 is $3,000 a year. This is still a really deeply discounted rate, because it does cost a lot more to put the program together. We do have payment plans available, and some needs-based scholarships. We do have an internal scholarship fund. The application, the deadline for that is the same as the deadline to apply to the farm school. And there is a link for the scholarship application on our website, and also in the application page at the top, there's a link to that form. We have not had an AmeriCorps Education Award, but we haven't had a student that wanted to, or that had that education award. So, but we have looked into whether we're eligible to accept it. and all indicators point in the direction of yes, we are eligible to accept, but we just have to work through the steps. So if you do have an AmeriCorps Education Award, talk to us. We're willing to work through those steps to so that you can use those funds to pay for your farm school tuition. Similarly, with GI Bill benefits. So we're also in the works, going through that process right now to be able to accept GI benefits, GI Bill benefits. And then in regards to federal financial aid, we are ineligible to accept federal financial aid because we are in the Division of Agriculture and not the University of Arkansas campus system. And so we are non-accredited program, so we can't accept federal financial aid. And so what's next? So we do the scholarship or the farm school application and scholarship application deadlines are September 30th. So we're in that open period right now. We'll start doing personal interviews with every person that applies. And we've got 3 dates set out for those. We'll start those on September 20th, and we'll have 2 more dates. Hopefully we can knock them all out in those 3 dates. And then there's a required working interview. We've got 2 different dates outlined for that. Saturday, October 5th, which is 9 to 11. And then October 10th is a work day, or is an afternoon during the work week from 2:30 to 4:30. And if neither of those times work, we're also willing to find another time to make that happen for you. And also similarly, if you're traveling or if you're not located in the Northwest Arkansas or Arkansas area, we can talk about that. So please reach out if that's you. We do have a Google Sheets work sample. It's not, it's just to see where your skills are at as far as like working with Google Sheets. It doesn't disqualify you from anything. It's just for us to see where you're at, and that's due by October 11th. When you apply to the program, give your email address to Brooke, and Brooke will send you out a link to that Google Sheets work sample. And then by November 1st, or on November 1st, the invitations will be sent out to the applicants to be a part of our 2025 cohort. We do have a 2-week turnaround for that, for you to accept that or decline that. And then we do require a $200 tuition deposit that's due on December 10th. Okay. Jonathan, I think you're next.
Yeah, absolutely. So you may be asking yourself how you can best prepare for farm school. So we just wanted to add a little bit of information and context there. We heavily suggest that you gain experience with Google Suite if you haven't already. There are a plethora of ways to learn how to use Google Sheets, Google Slides, or Google Docs via YouTube or other ways online. We would really be happy if you came into the farm school with experience working in the field, whether that be backyard gardening on your own, volunteering to work at local farms, volunteering for work days. We do have a good amount of nonprofit farms in Northwest Arkansas. Cobblestone, Red Barn Farm, Samaritan Community Center, Tricycle Farms, and CAFF even hosts sporadic volunteer events throughout the year. So there are ways to get that. If you aren't located in the Northwest Arkansas area, I highly suggest that you look up other farms around you or nonprofits, just so you can kind of get that feeling, if you don't already have it, for what it's like to, get your hands in the soil, what it's like to get outside and sweat in the middle of the summertime, things like that. And it can be really helpful coming into our program, having some base knowledge. Like Joe was saying earlier, for technology, it's very handy, basically required to have a laptop in class. That can be something as simple as a Chromebook. If you don't already have something, it doesn't matter if it's an Apple laptop or a Microsoft-based laptop or a Chromebook, they can all access the internet, thus giving you access to Google Suite. And for the field, it's really important that you have closed-toed shoes. The clothes that you wear to the farm are going to get dirty. They're probably going to get greasy when we're on the tractors or hooking up equipment. It's easy to get snagged or caught on something in the field or in tunnels. So it's really easy to like ruin a lot of clothes here. So only wearing clothes to the farm that you are okay, tearing up or ruining. And then on top of that, when it's cold outside, it doesn't mean we won't be outside. When it's raining outside, as long as it's not thundering or lightning, there's a good chance if we need to be outside, we will be outside that day. And then, right now we have a really lovely July, but that is not consistent with the history of Julys here at CAFF. So be prepared to be exposed to a lot of sunlight and a lot of high temperatures, especially in our summers. So having sun shirts, sun hats, and things that cover your arms are really, really helpful, on top of course, sunscreen. So just remember that, we do take you through 10 months here at CAFF, so you will be exposed to all of the elements that Arkansas can bring.
All right, we've got some questions, Q&A session that we come across on a kind of, semi-regular basis that we thought we would go through here. Some of them might just underscore some of the content that we shared earlier. And so I'll just start us off. Does farm school count for any sort of college credit? Is it a program that may allow someone to defer student loans? I don't believe that you could defer student loans. That would be something that you would have to talk with your loan holder with. It might be possible. I'm not familiar with that one. And does it count for any college credit? As I mentioned earlier, the farm school is not part of like the accredited, University of Arkansas Fayetteville campus. However, I think like if you were a student and you wanted to do a special projects, like that could be a unique situation that you could maybe make work on a case by case basis. Who wants to take the next one?
No, I think that was supposed to be me. So,
Okay.
So what does a typical day for a farm school student look like? Well, it depends on whether it's a classroom day or a farm day. So I'll start with the classroom day first and then pass it to Jonathan for a field day. The classroom day typically will be some sort of PowerPoint or discussion-based activity or some other type of learning activity to gain knowledge and gain skills. And then once that larger group activity or discussion is completed, then there's typically work time to then go back in and apply the knowledge that you just gained to your own farm business plan or for Brooke or crop plan materials for me. And then Jonathan, you want to talk about field?
Absolutely. And in the field, that'll look like, we check in the morning, we look at the day's tasks that we'll be doing, and then we generally head out to the field. Depending on cohort size, we may split up into multiple groups to accomplish different tasks around the farm. And like stated earlier, sometimes those days look like everybody loading in a bus and driving to a local farm and going for a farm tour. So we do keep it pretty diverse throughout the whole year. What tasks will be completed, but that's just the nature of this type of agriculture.
I can take the next one. Does CAFF offer jobs to farm school students following graduation or connect them with other local farms for job opportunities? So throughout our programs, every single year, we've had a farm opportunities mixer, and that's kind of an annual event in the spring as farms are looking for farm workers or farm help, whether that's volunteered or pay. We bring those farmers and we look for those farm experience seekers, whether that's a CAFF Farm School graduate or someone out in the community, and we try to make those connections at that networking event. So it's been a really great way for us in the past to help make some of those connections. Um, in addition, during the farm school program, like Jonathan was saying, you get to go on those farm tours, you get to meet those farmers face to face, so you're familiar with the different farmers, what they're doing, do your interests align with what they're doing on their farm so that maybe you could learn from them. So you get some really great connections just through the program itself. Um, and so, yes, we absolutely are providing a supportive environment to help you connect. Those are just a couple of different ways that we do it. We've had farm school students that as they were in the program, they looked for work at a local farm and have been able to connect with somebody and are now working part-time as they're in the farm school student class. So we've had several situations where we've been able to make those connections. So absolutely.
Yeah, and ideally, throughout the connections that the students make throughout the year, like you can recognize like farms that you want to work with and reach out to them on your own rather than, working through us. So, yeah. The next question is, I want to apply to farm school, but I don't have an end goal for what I would like to do with the skills I gain. Do I need to have a project or a future idea to be admitted into the program? Well, I would say that in order to be admitted to the program, number one, you have to be willing and have come in with an open mind and willing to learn. Obviously, you do have to enjoy working outside, working with plants, growing food. And you also, I would also say that a lot of the content that we are and experience that we're providing is really directed towards the business side of farming. Like we want people to leave the program with the skills to be a successful farm business. And so there is that to consider as well. It's not just growing the plants. It's growing the plants and how do I, plan to make money off of the crops to support my family, to support my farm business. What do I need to do to be a viable farm into the future? And so, if that's something that is of interest to you, I would 100% encourage you to apply to the program. But just keep that in mind, like, those are the things that we're going to be covering.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add a little bit of that to that is, one of the things that we do to start off the field is, we want you to find your why. Why are you doing this? So it's really great if you can come in to our program already having that in mind, especially when things get tough and it gets hot outside. It's nice to look back at the reasons why you're doing this. Farming's a tough career, and so these are the kinds of things that you'll need to get you through those hard periods of time. So it looks like I have the next one. So I've not been to Northwest Arkansas or Fayetteville. What is the area like, known for? Does CAFF provide any assistance to students moving to the Northwest Arkansas area for the program? So Northwest Arkansas in a whole is growing very rapidly. It's a great place to live, a great place to work. There are a good amount of jobs here. I will say cost of living has gone up in the past 5 to 10 years compared to what it was before and compared to what other parts of our state look like. So just kind of know that. Cheaper rents are getting fewer and further between. And so just understanding when you're coming into this area, if you have not been here, you may have to live a little bit further from the farm or find an apartment or something along those lines outside of Fayetteville in particular. It's really lovely area. I've lived here my whole life. I think Northwest Arkansas is known for its beauty. The rolling hills and the Ozarks are great. We've had an explosion of like mountain biking and hiking trails, things like that put in. We're really starting to see the food scene in Northwest Arkansas evolve. And we have a lot of outdoor activities, both in Northwest Arkansas and the region as a whole. So if you like being outside, lakes and rivers, and trails. This is a great place for you. And we have a lot of scenic beauty. Now, when it comes to CAFF providing any assistance to students moving to the Northwest Arkansas area, we currently do not provide any assistance. We do have some lists of resources, places to stay, and we're happy to continue to grow that and give you any suggestions that we might have. But for right now, we do not offer any assistance or housing or anything like that. Heather, did you want to add anything to that, or anybody else?
I think you covered it. I mean, as far
Okay.
as it's just as far as like assistance for students moving into Northwest Arkansas for the program. Right. We can provide some like, a list of apartment complexes, and we have some like housing lists, but we don't offer any placement or, really hand holding when it comes to finding that.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
But it is, Fayetteville's a college town, so there is, there's a lot of apartments around.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, anyone have anything to add on any of these questions? If not, this is the end of our presentation. Feel free to reach out to any of us over the next couple of months if you've got questions about farm school. We look forward to meeting you and connecting with you and talking more about farm school. This is all of our email addresses and also the CAFF email address, caff@uark.edu. Thanks for joining in, and have a great day.